So today I'm going to be doing the alternative black girl tag. I found it on someone's YouTube video. I think it was Hello Chalet, and I decided that I wanted to do it too because it looks fun. Also, while I do that, I'm going to take down my twists because why not? Do you like my makeup? I spent like 10-15 minutes on it. I don't do it like a full face, I just do eyeliner and lipstick. Also, I have music playing in the background, so if you hear something weird, it's the music. Okay, so the first question is, wait a minute, disclaimer. I did write down the answers, so if it looks like I'm just reading from a screen, it's because I am. Okay, so the first question is, how did you know you were different? Well, first off, I was the quietest girl ever. Little did I know that tiny little personality quit would actually take over my entire mentality of being different. Being quiet just totally went against what people expected me to be as my stereotype. You know, I'm a big black woman, and usually people associate anger with that and ghetto, wretched, but I am literally the opposite of that. I was just, a quiet, socially awkward black kid. No one could really relate to that, so I just couldn't really fit in with any social clique around me. I had to fly solo and find out who I was without the influence of peers. Also, I have this in selfie mode, so I usually look at myself rather than the camera. Sorry. Okay, the next question is, do people judge me? I mean, I'm pretty sure they do, but if they do, I have no idea. I'm pretty oblivious when it comes to those types of things. The next question is, how do you react to negative people? Easy, by not reacting. If someone's being negative, usually it's because they want to get a reaction out of you, so I just don't. Who cares about those people? Next question is, what does your family think? Well, they absolutely hate it. Period, point blank. They think that I'm weird and everything, but they're just always like, whatever, it's your body, it's your life, which works for me. The next question is, how do you remain true to yourself? I'm not 100% sure on what this question means, but I'll just interpret it this way. Listening to my favorite bands is usually a constant reminder of who I am and what I like to be. So, I guess if that's what that question means. Next question is, who or what inspired me? This is an odd question. I would say that I inspired myself. That sounds dumb, but let me get into it. Whenever I try to dig into my history of being alternative, I realized that I was always just making decisions on my own. Maybe certain fashion styles, like Disney fashion styles, how they always have like really colorful, layered stuff. I might have been inspired by some of that. Also, maybe the anime that I watched with girls wearing thigh-high socks and really short skirts and blue hair like Hatsune Miku. Maybe I watched too much Beavis and Butthead, which is probably why I like the type of comedy that I like today. The only person that I can think of that might have inspired me was a friend that I had in 6th grade. She was like new to the class, but she was like completely alternative, and she had this entire like punk rock sense. At the time I was maybe 10 or 11, and like especially at that age, so young, just never saw anyone like her. I kind of had an alternative mind already when I met her. but it wasn't really set. I mean, I was only 10 or 11. She already had an alternative style established, and she was like literally my age, and she had so much confidence, and I really envied that. She even introduced me to bands like Green Day and My Chemical Romance and other rock bands. Although I remember reminding her about Avril Lavigne, so I won on that one. So I guess you could say that she sort of kicked me into my alternative journey. Around 2008 and 2011, I had a scene phase, and I consistently looked up scene hair and makeup videos on YouTube, especially if I could find any black girls, and I might have been inspired by those people as well. After that, it was pretty much just YouTubers that inspired me, like Nefertiti Born, Merqueen, I think is her YouTube name, Graveyard Girl, very recently, Hello Chalet, and Avo. That was a really long-winded answer. The next question is, what does your significant other think of you? That's also a weird question. I don't really have a significant other. Well, I am talking to a guy. He doesn't really know too much about this side of me of being alternative. He's like Christian, he has a really good heart, and so I would think he would be okay with me being the way that I am, but I'm not really sure, and I haven't told him, so I don't know. I don't know why I'm like more nervous now than I usually am in my videos, but I am. So sorry if you can like hear the shakiness in my voice or whatever. Okay, so I decided to add in a few more questions to this because, you know, this tag's a little bit too vague for my taste. The next question that I added was, how many piercings do you have and how many piercings do you want? Including lobes, I have 7 piercings. Well, 6, kind of. Over here, you can see the forward helix that used to be connected to a rook, but the rook started to migrate and it became sort of a surface piercing, and that was not a good look, so I had to take it out. I'll get it re-pierced at some point, but I don't know when that will be because I have like no money right now, and having no money, you definitely aren't going to spend it on something like a piercing. I love piercings, but not that much. Also have this one, my industrial, that was the very first piercing that I got. And my snug, which was like, what do you call it? A constellation piercing, because I wanted to get a vertical tragus piercing, but the piercer said that my ears are too small and like it would split or whatever, and I ended up not getting that one, so it sucked, but you know, I've gotten snug down, that's fine. As far as the piercings that I want, I've counted, and I think it was 28 piercings. I will list them all to you, but it's so many. I think there was like a vertical industrial, and then like 2 cartilage piercings over here, and then a eighth, and then a second lobe piercing on both sides, and a conch piercing, and I even want facial piercings like snake bites and a septum. But I'm gonna stop there. How many tattoos do you want? Or how many tattoos do you have? I have none, but I do have like an entire sleeve of tattoos planned in my head. Although I have those, I don't think I'll be getting any though, because just the thought of sitting in the piercer shop or the tattoo shop and just sitting there for so long enduring pain. I mean, I've heard people say that it doesn't hurt that much, it's like a little cat scratch or something, and I'm like, I don't care, you're sitting there for so long enduring even a little bit of pain, you're gonna just get like sick and tired of it, and I don't think that'll be worth it unless I like really want a tattoo one day. I can show you the tattoos though. It's gonna be weird since this is in selfie mode. I'll try to hurry up. And that took a while. They're all the piercings that I've thought of. It's like literally a whole sleeve of piercing ideas. Hopefully you can see them. crazy. But I won't be getting any of them unless one day I change my mind. If that'll happen, then good for me. Okay, the next question. Do you dye your hair? If so, which are your favorite colors? I don't dye my hair, but I do like occasionally. Sorry. Occasionally I'll do like temporary colors with pastels or with paint. I know it's bad for my hair, but I kind of don't care. One day I will dye my hair in its entirety, and I know there's going to be damage most likely. And when that day comes, my hair will be like down my back. And if I get any damage, I'll like cut it in half and be fine with the length. And that's why I'm on my natural journey right now. And that's why I don't dye my hair yet. My favorite colors are blues, purples, and greens. That's usually what I tend to go for. That awkward moment when your video is too long. Take 3. Okay. Next question. I believe I was on. What hair colors do you want to give a try? I've always wanted to try purple ever since I was a very little kid. Also, the oil slick trim looks pretty cool. And ultimately, I want to end up with green hair. Like a sort of dark pastel shade. I don't know how else to explain it, so I'll just put up a picture. Bam. I've always wanted to be a coquette since I started going natural, actually. A coquette. Next question. Would you give yourself a specific label, such as called punk or grunge? No. I've been through that label thing. Labels just, it doesn't work for me. And I can't be labeled. I used to go through so many labels like punk and grunge and scene and goth, and honestly my style changes upon my mood. Like sometimes I'll be a lazy goth, sometimes I'll be a laid back punk, sometimes I'll be like band or concert chic, sometimes a grunge. There's usually some sort of lazy aspect to it. But like the only label that I can really use for me is alternative. Next question. Regardless of if you rock your natural hair or not, do you think being natural adds to, subtracts from, or doesn't change the alternative image? As you can see, I'm natural. I think it adds to the alternative image. Even though we're in an era where more and more black girls are becoming natural, I still think that being natural is still considered sort of edgy, you know? Because there's not as many black girls that's natural. So it's like very different, very unique. And I embrace that, it being called edgy. In fact, the main reason why I went natural is because I wanted to be different. Or, you know, just more like the way that I want it to be. Not for health, not for length, but because there's just that one little extra thing that would make me even more like myself. Last question. Woohoo! It's been a ride. I lost 3 different videos of footage because I ran out of space on my phone. But anyway, the last question. What makes your alternative unique? It's been so long trying to come up with like the perfect last question. And this is what I came up with, and it's really hard to interpret, isn't it? This is how I interpret it. Being plus size, I think, is one thing that makes my alternative unique. You hardly ever see any alternative black girls, but you rarely ever see alternative black plus size girls. And I think that's what makes me like the most unique about it. But if you want to go less like physical and more mental, just the fact that I'm alternative, not necessarily to rebel, but to be different. And to find myself and be the person that I feel like I am is what makes me feel unique. You know, I'm doing it not just to be different, I'm not doing it to rebel. I'm just trying to find myself, which I'm pretty sure like a lot of alternative black girls also sort of follow that. But I think more need to do that. And that was it. That was the alternative black girl tag. If you want to do my version, you can. If you say, F that, I'm gonna not do all that extra stuff, then you can do that too. I'm not big on like tagging people because number one, I don't know many people who are on YouTube. So if you want to do this tag, go ahead, do this tag. It's a fun tag. Again, if you want to do my additions to it, you can do it. If you don't want to do my additions to it, don't do it. I get it. I'm an idiot. Just type in the comments, you're an idiot. I'm not doing that. Anyway, thanks for listening to my nervous ramble. I'm mainly nervous because I'm back home and there's people here, so thanks. Do you like how my twist out turned out? I might have missed a twist or two, otherwise it's good. I was going to chalk, but I've apparently forgotten my pastels. So, no green here for me. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye. And hey, look, new band shirt. Walk the moon. Shut up and dance with me.